In this video, we will show you how to install your WD Electronics turn signal kit for all 2025 Polaris RZR Pro models, RZR Pro XP, RZR Pro S, and RZR Pro R. Start by removing the center hood panel. Remove the two T40 Torx bolts and slide the panel back to release the two alignment tabs at the front edge. Remove the panel. Next, remove the front trim panel with the Polaris badge by removing the single T40 Torx bolt and sliding the panel forward to release the two alignment tabs. Remove the panel. Remove the front grille by turning the two plastic locks at the top of the panel to release them. Slide the grille out and up to release the two alignment tabs along the bottom edge and remove the grille. Next, you will remove the two tweeter speakers if equipped. There is one located on each A-pillar. Carefully remove the two T30 Torx bolts from each tweeter. There is one bolt on the outside and one bolt on the inside of each speaker housing. Once the bolts have been removed, slide each speaker housing back to remove it from the rubber roll cage boot. Slide the rubber boot up the A-pillar out of the way on each side. You will disconnect the wiring for each speaker by disconnecting the small white connectors. One side of the connector has a locking tab that needs to be depressed to slide the connectors apart. Underneath the center hood panel that you removed previously, remove the two T40 bolts on the front edge of the dashboard, one on each side of the air intake tube. Inside the machine, carefully remove the center trim panel around the rocker switch slots and the ride command screen by prying the panel free. Open the center storage compartment in the dash and remove the two hex screws. Lift the center storage compartment up out of the dash and carefully remove the USB cable and rubber grommet from the storage compartment. Set the compartment aside. Open the passenger's side storage compartment in the dash. Remove the four T30 bolts underneath the lid, one on each corner. Remove the single T40 Torx bolt near the front door latch on each side of the machine. The dash panel can now be removed. It's held in with clips along the whole perimeter of the panel and can carefully be popped free. If the dash is not coming out easily, you are likely missing a fastener. Check the area that is binding for fasteners that could prevent the panel from being removed. The model shown in this video is an Ultimate trim. For instructions on Sport and Premium trims, refer to your instruction manual. There are two options for ultimate trim machines, and both options will be shown. Unclock your steering column using the lever on the left side of the steering wheel and slide it all the way out for better visibility. Locate the turn signal lever in your kit with the pre-installed screw clamp. Loosen the screw on the clamp to release the end. Locate the space in the steering column. Feed the end of the clamp from the top out through the bottom of the space. Once the end of the clamp is visible on the bottom, insert the end back into the clamp near the screw and tighten it down to secure it in place. Feed the wiring for the turn signal lever underneath the dash, following the factory wiring as closely as possible. Start by removing the screw clamp from the turn signal lever. Install the L bracket onto the turn signal switch in the orientation shown, reusing the two gold bolts. The flat side, with the staggered holes, should be flush with the side of the switch with the WD sticker. Remove the center steering wheel cover from the steering wheel by carefully popping it free. Now, carefully remove the wiring for the steering wheel buttons. The larger white connector in the middle has a locking tab that needs to be depressed. Depress the tab and slide the connectors apart carefully. There is one small black connector on each side that can be carefully pulled free. Remove the wiring harness. Make sure your tires are aligned straight ahead and that the steering wheel is straight before removing it. Use a 15/16 inch or 25 mm socket and an impact gun to remove the center nut on the steering shaft. Mark the position of the steering wheel on the steering shaft to aid in realigning the wheel when reassembling. Carefully remove the steering wheel. In our experience, some wheels may come off easily without any removing tools, and others may require a steering wheel pulling tool to remove. We have built a steering wheel pulling tool that is available for purchase on our website if that tool is needed. The steering wheel will still be attached with a coiled wire for the buttons and controls. Carefully set the wheel aside or hang it on your shifter handle. Remove the two gold bolts that were exposed by removing the wheel using a 10 mm socket. The nuts on the back side are welded and do not need to be held. Lift the round plastic cover up about 1/4 inch and insert the L bracket between the metal bracket and the round plastic cover. Reinstall the two gold bolts and tighten them down to secure the turn signal lever. Reinstall the wheel. Torque the steering wheel nut to the factory specification and reassemble. Feed the wiring for the turn signal lever underneath the dash, following the factory wiring as closely as possible. Now, you will mount the control module to the firewall under the dashboard. There is a small plastic tab that you will need to trim off in order for the control module to fit flat on the panel. Carefully trim off the plastic tab using a razor blade. The control module will now mount flat in this location. To aid in installing the control module, we include two adhesive squares, Affix the 2 adhesive squares to the bottom of the control module, closer to the side with the 4 connectors. Locate the power cable for the control module. It has a 3-pin connector on one side and 2 bullet connectors on the other. Connect the power cable on the control module using the mating bullet connectors. Verify that the colors match up and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. Peel off the other side of the backing on the adhesive squares and stick the control module in place on the firewall. Use the 2 included self-tapping screws in the top holes to attach the control module to the firewall. Do not over-tighten the self-tapping screws, or you risk stripping the holes. Route the cable on the control module covered in black wire loom towards the wiring for the turn signal lever, and connect them using the mating connectors. This hazard switch harness is sold separately. The harness can be installed during your initial installation, or it can be easily added at a later time. Choose your desired position in the bottom row of the switch slots. Pop out the plastic cap in your desired position. Feed the 2 connectors on the harness through the slot and clip the rocker switch into place. Disconnect the connection between the control module and the turn signal lever. Insert the 2 connectors on the hazard switch harness in line with the control module and turn signal lever, making sure that both sides clip into place. There are 2 styles of front turn signals shown in this video: sequential LED strips and 3/4-inch LEDs. Follow the directions relevant to your turn signal kit and feel free to skip to the section that is labeled for your signal type. Installing the sequential LED strips requires removing the side hood panels. The driver's side panel will be shown, but both panels will need to be removed. Start by removing the plastic push pin and the T40 Torx bolt from the front of the side panel. Next, remove the 2 plastic push pins from the inside edge of the panel, one in the center and one near the roll cage A-pillar. Remove the single T40 Torx bolt from the panel inside the cab, located above the driver's side speaker and switches. The panel is held in with alignment tabs and plastic clips along the outside edge of the panel. Carefully slide the panel towards the outside of the machine to release the alignment tabs and plastic clips. Do not pull the panel straight up, or you may damage the mounting points and clips. Remove the panel on both sides of the machine. With the panels removed, you now have access to the top center mounting point for the headlights. Use a ratchet and a T15 Torx bit or a Torx key to loosen the mounting point by 4 full turns counterclockwise. This will back out the top edge of the headlight from the plastics enough to install the sequential LED strips. Carefully insert the round connector on each LED strip through the space at the top inside corner of each headlight and feed the wiring through. Starting at the inside corner of the headlight, insert the groove on the bottom edge of the LED strip between the headlight and the front plastics as shown. Any small excess of length on the strip may be tucked behind the bumper or plastics. Make sure that the strip is inserted evenly and tighten the top mounting point on the headlight 1.5 turns clockwise to secure the strip in place. Locate the harness with the 2 black plastic ballast boxes. Connect the 4-pin connector on the ballast harness to the control module using the mating connectors. Route the other end of the harness across the machine and through the rubber firewall grommet located to the right of the pulse bar. Locate the ends on the other side of the firewall grommet in the passenger's front wheel well. Route both wires up and over the passenger's front shock absorber following the factory wiring. Continue following the wiring behind the passenger's headlight and out the opening for the grille. Locate the end of the harness labeled for the driver's side. Route this wiring across the top of the grille opening to the driver's side LED strip. Connect the wiring harness to the LED strip using the mating black and blue connectors. These connectors have keyed openings and will only connect when lined up correctly. Slide the connectors together and use the threaded rings to secure the connection. Repeat the connection for the passenger side LED strip. Secure the wiring harness away from any hot or moving components, following factory wiring as closely as possible using the included zip ties. Secure any excess length of harness and the LED ballasts under the dashboard. Tape off this area and mark out the location of the 3 3/4-inch holes for the front turn signals according to your instruction manual. Our recommended location is shown. There are 3 plastic support fins behind this panel that you will need to avoid when spacing the holes and drilling. Once you have confirmed the location of the 3 holes on each side, use a 3/4-inch spade drill bit or hole saw to drill out the holes. Remove the tape from the panel. Start on the driver's side of the machine. Locate the side of the signal harness labeled for the driver's side. Slip the 3 rubber grommets off of the LEDs down onto the black and white wires. Feed one of the LEDs through the back side of each hole that you drilled, followed by the rubber grommets. Install a rubber grommet into each hole, making sure that they are seated evenly. Then, press one LED into the rubber grommet to secure them in place. Route the harness back towards the firewall and across the machine following factory wiring as closely as possible. Route the other side to the correct location following factory wiring and repeat the installation on the passenger side. Locate and connect the extension harness to the front signal harness by using the mating connectors. Route the other end of the extension harness through the rubber firewall grommet. Locate the connector inside of the firewall, route it across the dash to the control module, and connect them together using the mating connectors. Disconnect the 4-pin factory taillight harness on the back of each taillight by lifting the locking tab and sliding each connector free. Locate the 2 inline taillight adapter harnesses in your kit. Start on the driver's side and insert the adapter with the red and black wires and the extra 2-pin connector in line with the taillight and factory harness. Verify that both sides of the adapter are fully clipped into place. On the passenger side, install the other adapter with the long white wire in line with the taillight and factory wiring harness. Verify that both sides of the adapter are fully clipped into place. Now, you will route the long white wire with the bullet connection across the machine behind the bumper. Follow the factory wiring harness behind the bumper as closely as possible. You should now have 3 wires with bullet connections at the driver's side taillight. Remove the front seats on both sides of the machine by depressing the handle under the seat bottom, rotating the seat forward, and sliding the seat back to remove. Disconnect the wiring for the heated and ventilated seats if equipped. Remove the 4 10mm bolts from the bottom edge of the driver's side panel near the pedals. Remove the 2 plastic push pins located behind the switch panel on the driver's side. They are located near the 2 vertical tabs and the thick factory harness. These push pins can be difficult to see, but you should be able to feel them. Remove the remaining 4 10mm bolts from the bottom edge of the driver's side panel, located below the shifter and cup holders. On 2 seat models, you will now remove the storage compartment between the front seats. Remove the 2 T40 bolts from each side. Remove the cup holder insert. Open the lid of the storage compartment and turn the 2 twist locks. Remove the whole panel. Remove the last plastic push pin on the driver's side that is now exposed near the cup holders. Remove the whole front driver's side panel by carefully unclipping the clips along the top edge and sliding it free. Disconnect the driver's footwell LED if equipped by carefully popping it out. 4-seat models will look a bit different and need to remove the rear center panel as well. Refer to your instructions for information on removing this panel. Locate the long black cable with the 3 inner wires. Connect this large cable to the mating 3-pin connector on the control module with the same white clip. Route the other end down the firewall following the thick factory wiring harness along the length of the center tunnel. When you reach the rear firewall, continue feeding the wire back following the thick factory wiring harness. Locate the end of the cable on the other side of the rear firewall under the driver's rear fender. Continue following factory wiring as closely as possible up underneath the bed and storage area heat shield. Continue following the wiring underneath the heat shield up the roll cage, and to the driver's side taillight and taillight adapters you installed earlier. Connect the end of the long black cable to the 3 mating bullet connections on the taillight adapter plugs. Verify that the colors match up: red to red, black to black, and white to white, and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. It may be easiest to disconnect the driver's side adapter from the taillight to make the connections and then reconnect it to the driver's taillight. Go back and secure the length of the black cable to the factory wiring as closely as possible. Make sure to avoid any hot or moving components that could damage the cable. Choose one of the 4 lower rocker switch slots in your dash for the horn rocker switch. Pop out the plastic cover. Feed the whole harness through the slot. And clip the switch into place. Locate the 2-pin connector on the back side of the dash. Route this connector to the control module and connect it to the mating connector with the same blue clip. Locate the other side of the harness with the black and red spade connectors behind the dash and route it across to the rubber firewall grommet on the passenger side. Feed the end through the firewall and locate it on the other side. Route the end of the wire following factory wiring over the shock absorber, past the headlight, and through the plastic tunnel into the space in front of the radiator on the passenger side. At the front of the machine, under the panel you removed with the Polaris logo, mark the location for a 1/4 inch hole. Drill out the hole in the location you marked. Connect the black and red spade connectors to the horn housing in either direction. They are reversible. Install the stud on the horn up through the bottom of the hole that you drilled. Make sure the horns point forward and secure it with the included gold nut. Trim a small 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch tab out of your license plate frame for the wiring harness to pass through. Bend the tab over flat or cut it off. Now, you will mount the license plate bracket. On RZR Pro models like the one shown, you will center the bracket on the panel directly below the center exhaust tip. Use the bracket as a template and mark the locations of the 2 top holes. Drill out the holes with a 1/4 inch drill bit. Install the bracket with the 2 included bolts and nylon lock nuts and tighten it down. Install your trimmed license plate into the LED license plate frame. Insert the wiring for the LED frame through the mounting bracket to line up the holes. Insert the wiring for the LED frame through the mounting bracket and line up the holes. Secure the frame and plate to the bracket using the included small nuts and bolts. On Pro XP and Pro S models, You will install the license plate bracket higher up on the bumper near the rear camera using factory bolts. See your instruction manual for more details. Locate the power cable in the license plate kit. Connect the power cable to the mating connector on the driver's side taillight adapter harness. Route the other end with the red and black bullet connections behind the bumper towards the wires on the LED license plate frame. Connect the power cable to the wiring on the frame, matching the colors red to red and black to black. Verify that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. Secure the wiring away from any hot or moving components with the included edge clip zip ties. Refer to your instruction manual for more details. Remove the plastic cover from the back of the instrument cluster by carefully popping it free. Unplug the large gray instrument cluster connector from the back side of the instrument cluster or speedometer by depressing the locking tab on the bottom and sliding it free. Open the back of the gray cover by carefully prying the two halves apart. Remove the clear gray cover from the front side of the pins by depressing the white locking tab on each side of the connector and sliding it free. Remove the two blue plastic pins from slots numbered 6 and 7 from the back side of the connector. Insert the exposed pins on the dash indicator harness into the plug and make sure they line up evenly with the other existing pins. Insert the black wire into position 6 and insert the red wire into position 7. Reinstall the plastic cover and clip the back of the connector together. Reinstall the connector into the instrument cluster with the locking tab facing down. Route the other side of the harness with the 4-pin connector to the control module, following factory wiring. Connect the harness to the control module with the mating connectors. Route the power cable across the machine to the center near the pulse bar. Remove a dust cap from the pulse bar in your desired position by lifting the wings on the dust cap and sliding it free. Install the end of the power cable into the pulse bar, making sure that it fully clips into place. Now you're ready to clean up any remaining wiring and test out your lights.